Hello everyone. This is Indranil Chaudhary from College Dunya. This is another edition on Thoughts Education. We have here with us Honorable Vice Chancellor of JIS University, Dr. Bimal Chaudhary, who did his BTech and MTech and PhD from IIT Kharagpur, followed by his postdoctorate course from Colorado State University. He had topped his MTech class at IIT Kharagpur. After his MTech, he has joined as an assistant engineer in the government of West Bengal in 1973, and we saw the dawn of his education career in 1979, and since then he has been in the education industry for 41 years. So I would want to know, sir, yet again, it's a privilege to have you here, sir, and it's an honor to have this interview with you. I would want to know how is the experience in your education industry and what makes education industry the best industry of all?
Actually, I've been enjoying this education industry. See, the thing is that first 7 years, actually 72, I joined government job as junior engineer, assistant engineer, and so on. But then I thought of changing over to the education sector because I love to teach, and teaching comes from the core of my heart. Although I'm now 71 years old, you wake me up in the mid of night and although I'm feeling sleepy and tired at the moment, you just ask me to stand in the class, I will start teaching, and maybe 2-3 hours I can stand and teach. So I enjoyed teaching thoroughly throughout my life, and mainly I taught at IIT Kharagpur, maybe in other places in India and abroad also, like Stuttgart University, Germany, and your LMI University, Ethiopia, and so on. Because you are in the midst of educated people and you are in the midst of the young people, you feel more energetic. When at the age of 24, I was an assistant engineer in the government, and I had to, do the administration for persons of 50 years age. I used to feel very old at the age of 24, but at the age of 70, 71, I feel much younger. And then I feel that really it gave me so much of satisfaction that I feel very happy and satisfied at the end of my career now. I'm supposed to return next week. Of course, I'm not very sure whether the top management will allow me to retire, but officially I should retire as per UGC norm at the age of 70. So I enjoyed it. It has been very exciting experience, and I had field experience. So while teaching, not only I used to teach a lot of theoretical things, but also I could mix all the that practical experiences. Like I'm a man, my specialization has been in irrigation and soil water conservation engineering. And my textbook is the textbook authored by me, the textbook of not only the agricultural engineers of this country, but the neighboring countries also, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and other countries. So that way, and in that book also, I have incorporated my field experience. And while teaching also, I have been doing that. And now I'm managing the, teaching industry. That means managing my teachers, managing the students and other stuff. So I really enjoy it.
Thank you so much for that answer, sir. And the thing is, anyone watching this, you have to realize, follow your heart, follow your passion, follow your dreams, and you'll never grow old of it. So that is something we have to take out from it. So I believe that, being a vice chancellor brings about a lot of responsibility to your own team and students. So being the leader, what is the philosophy of leadership, and how would you describe your leadership style?
See, first of all, you must have a clear vision. That means what you want your university to be. So you have to shape that vision and articulate it clearly to provide direction to the faculty. Because obviously, I'm not always in touch with the student. That's not possible. But certainly, I'm in touch with all the faculty, and that things are changing every moment in this century. Things do not move in a very particular way, in a very structural way. So always there is some change. So I have to provide leadership for that. And I believe in one thing, that although the physical infrastructure, lab, buildings, and other things, library, they're important, but the emotional infrastructure, I call it, is more important. The teachers and the staff, they should have a feeling that this education institution, this university belongs to all of them. And that's what I try to impress upon them, that if something goes wrong with this, you'll be in a bad position outside. But if the things are good and people talk good about this university, oh, he's from that university, the faculty of that university, you feel proud. As I used to do when people say, oh, you are from IIT Kharagpur. So I used to feel proud. Similarly, I have been telling the teachers that you have to do that. And I have been constantly trying to develop them because they are young faculty. So through faculty development and other programs, and encouraging them that what they are supposed to do. So these things I've been doing.
I mean, I believe it's more of a sentimental touch towards your
sentimental touch is needed. Yes. Apart from their capability have to be increased because they are all young teachers. It's a young university. On 31st July 2015, I retired as a professor from IIT Kharagpur. And next 2 days were Saturdays and Sundays. 3rd August, Monday, I came to Calcutta and joined as the first vice chancellor of this university. The building was under construction. 2 floors were there, few security guards here and there. And then I had to start the university, So I know from the beginning every brick of this university and then everything, all details of the university. So we appointed some teachers regular teachers, some part-time teachers, framed some syllabus, prepared the timetable and started the classes with 100 and odd students within a month by August end, And I remember, 25th August, that first class students came and we started their induction program. And actual classes started from 1st September 2015. So that way I have been providing the leadership,
So, I mean, understanding whatever you said, sir, it seems like from ground zero, you had started JIS University, right?
Yeah.
So, I believe, this goes without saying, it comes with a lot of responsibilities, a lot of tasks and, challenges. So any significant challenges you face handling the responsibilities at this university? And if you do, how do you motivate your team for this continuous growth and enhancement that we have seen along these years?
See, challenges are always a part of life. Okay, from young age itself, I've been taking challenges because thinking that from between 72 and 76, in 4 years' time, I had 4 government jobs, permanent jobs. I resigned and came for a temporary job at IIT Kharagpur. The idea was to take a risk and complete my PhD so that I can get a better position. So that worked. So at this age, I'm very much capable of taking challenges. Challenges are quite a few. Being a new university, the teachers are new, inexperienced, although they are well qualified, but they are quite new. And then, so therefore, we have been regularly taking up the faculty development program. That's a regular activity for us, in which not only we invite people from academia, people from industry. I also take some classes, like I took quite a few classes, role of teachers in imparting quality education, value education in higher education, in technical, like that. So several classes I also took. And students also, let us admit, there is no point hiding, they are also not the best. Because best students certainly will look for IITs and NITs and good government universities where they have to pay less also and get good education. So there are challenges. So we have to see that we add value to these students and we nurture them, because somewhere I read the purpose of an educator is not to cut the jungle but to irrigate the desert. If you already get very good students like we used to get at IIT, and I was also a student there and I was a teacher there, so then there is not much challenge. But here certainly there are challenges, but then we are able to tackle it. And then there are so many, regulatory bodies are there in India, So as an IITian, we never faced any such regulatory bodies because Parliament gave us a lot of powers there, autonomy, so we could easily excel there. Here you have to also abide by the regulations provided by the MHRD, ICT, UGC, then for Law, Bar Council of India, like that, PCI, Pharmacy Council of India for pharmacy courses, for education courses, NCRT. So like that, there are a lot of other regulatory bodies. So they also throw a lot of challenges to us. Not that they're all good for us or good for the education of any system, because where Rabindranath Tagore told, where the mind is free and head is high, education flourishes there. and as it has been happening at IIT, but not in all the other, not even in the central universities, So the challenges are there, and we are tackling it. Uh, and then we are regularly training our teachers, and then we are inviting people from IITs, NITs. Even nowadays, through online, we are inviting experts from foreign countries to deliver lecture before our teachers and the students. So that's how we are able to tackle the challenges.
I find that all the challenges have been detailedly put. So, I mean, it's pretty much clear. So, being this integral part of the university, what are the core USPs of the curriculum of this university, sir?
Curriculum, see, the thing is that although we don't have 100% freedom to frame our syllabus, because when we are framing the syllabus of pharmacy, B Pharm or M Pharm, we have to follow the norm of the Pharmacy Council of India. Similarly, law, Bar Council of India. But still, we try to do as much as possible. There are two clear things that I have been doing since the beginning. One we call Skill X. What is that Skill X? Every semester, the students have to think something new, have some innovative ideas, and then at the end of the semester, a group of students, maybe 3, 4, 5 together, they'll put up a project exhibit, and an external examiner will be invited to evaluate them. And of course, they'll be guided by a teacher, this group of students, so that the innovative ideas develop from the beginning itself. And this is a one-credit course, not that they just exhibit that. So it certainly matters for them that whether they get 90% and above means EX grade, that's 7-point grade like IITs I have introduced. Then 80 to 89 is A grade, 70 to 79 is B grade, and so on. So obviously everybody will like to have good grades, so they try to do their best. Another thing is that the students who come here, either they are from this state, West Bengal, or they are from Bihar, Jharkhand, maybe Bangladesh, Bhutan, etc. So many of them are educated in Bengali medium, maybe in Hindi medium, and so on. When they come to the university, they have the problem of communication skill. So they must develop the communication skill. For this purpose, another course subject has been introduced, that is called seminar. You know seminar, all of you, but seminar is there from the first semester to for a 4 years course, 8 semester, 3 years course up to 6 semester, every semester, and there is a period allotted for this semester, and not that they are evaluated at the end of the semester. Evaluation is throughout the semester. That means, let's say in a class there are 30 students, and throughout the year there are something like, say, 16 weeks of classes, 16, 17 weeks of classes. So what happened, a student may get chance to speak 3 or 4 times in a semester. So every time he will be evaluated, given marks. So if it is 100 marks, that means every time he is evaluated out of 25. So he knows that I have to be serious. So their communication skill is improved from the beginning, and then only they will be able to be well placed. Otherwise, even if you have the knowledge and you don't have the communication skill, means communication skill is the means of conveyance. I tell them that electricity is coming from Bandel thermal power. How does it come? Because if it is produced there, here you don't get the electricity. It has to come through that cable, Similarly, your communication skill is the system of conveyance. So you have to develop that. So these two things are unique to this university. And apart from that, apart from the regular classes, we are regularly having the talks by the industry and the academia from other institutes. So they may not be in the syllabus, may or may not be, because at IIT, as a teacher, I had freedom to teach anything. Something is there in the syllabus or not, you don't care. You feel that this is what the new thing has come. By the time syllabus changes, it may take 2 years. Doesn't matter. You start teaching something. So I told the teachers, okay, something may not be in the syllabus, but if you find something important, syllabus you complete, but you teach that also. And then don't teach everything in the class. Give them something to say, that self-reading, and the motivation that is needed, so that they learn at their own, and then they come and ask you some questions. So that is what you have to do. So these are the kind of things we have been doing.
So, I mean, I really get that, like, to be in trends with the new market or new technology, whatever is coming out, the engineer would be ready. So that
Uh,
actually brings me to my next question
hmm,
regarding these qualities. So,
hmm.
as a dignitary, as an experienced person in education field, what do you think are the top qualities a student should possess to be a successful engineer?
See, I mean, this university not just engineering, but it's a multidisciplinary thing. We have got all kinds of things. Law, you have pharmacy, you have got engineering. Only computer engineering, you have got. We have got education. We have science courses, management courses, biotechnology courses, microbiology, and so on. So, a student should be first of all motivated. That is most important thing. Once you motivate, I tell them Japanese saying, a poor teacher tells, an average teacher teaches, a good teacher explains, an excellent teacher demonstrates, and a great teacher motivates. So you have to motivate them. Things are available in the book, let them read it. You tell them they are the things to be read, and motivate them in such a way that they are able to learn, because learning doesn't stop at the end of the student career, but learning starts from here, and throughout the life one has to keep on learning. So the motivation, that's one thing. Then the students should be hard working. They have to work hard, because there is no substitute for hard work. And I tell them that by to go up, you don't have the lift. You have to go through the steps only. That's the only way you can, go to the higher place, higher ladder. There is no lift, that straight way you go up. There is no shortcut things. And we say that sincerity, like Swami Vivekananda said, good motive, sincerity, and infinite love can conquer the world. An individual possession of the virtues can destroy the dark designs of millions of hypocrites and brutes. When I talk of education, I can quote many big people from all over the world. So I tell those things that they have to do these things. So we motivate them. They have the positive attitude towards study. And then we talk to the guardians also. We have the guardians meet sometimes through the online. Then I tell the guardian what should be the guardian's role, the parents' role. In fact, I remember last year on 9th of August, the last day of our induction program, all the parents were invited, because first day I started with my introductory lecture, the induction program. Last day it ended with my address to the parents. I told them for about 1.5 hours, or maybe 1 hour 45 minutes, with the help of PPTs, that what should be the role of the parents in the student's career. So they are also, we try to impress upon them that the students should have positive attitude for the educational institution, and it's the parents who can develop that. Never say bad about the education institution before your children, then they will not have positive attitude. Provide good ambience at home also. Don't quarrel and don't discuss your personal problem before your children. That's not good for his healthy growth. And any such family problem you may discuss, but discuss it silently and not before your children. So these are some of the things. And then also we tell the students that to have your quality, you have to know how to think and work independently. That means it's okay that teachers will guide you, but first of all you try to develop your ideas and then come to the teacher. It may be quite possible that sometimes you have better ideas than old people we have. So this is where I tell. And I also told them that never believe anything blindly, that because I tell you, your parents tell you, you have to always try to be inquisitive. Like I give them the example that it was in 1895, the president of the Royal Society of London, Lord Kelvin, told anything heavier than air cannot fly and cannot be flown. But after 10 years, in 1905, the Wright brothers proved it to be wrong. Man could fly, although, that is a great innovation. And also I gave them the example that this gentleman, German gentleman who built that rocket which made the man walk on the moon, a possibility in 1969, July, I remember. He told in Von Braun, Von Braun, he told in 1972, if given the freedom, I'll remove the word impossible from dictionary. What seems to be impossible today may become possible tomorrow, and that's what the students have to be told to improve their quality, to improve their thinking, to bring in new ideas. Because as a teacher, I do not know it today. I think this is what is correct. It may not be correct tomorrow. So these are the kind of things we have been trying to do and tell the students.
So as you are really running short on time, right? I would cut it short and I'll bring about my last two questions, right? So I really want to know that how, because everything that I've heard till now has been very personally, I would say it's profound to me. So I really want to know how you build a healthy relationship with the students.
A healthy relationship. That means there should be a constant, constant connection, communication has to be there. So for every 15 students, there is a mentor. Okay, one mentor has to work regularly so that he will be knowing what are their problems. Problems could be they are not understanding. Problem could be language problem at the beginning. Could be financial problem. Financial problem is not that we'll be all giving them the money, although once or twice I did it from my pocket, that is not to be mentioned, but where from they can get the loans or other financial help or scholarship, or the mentor can approach me, we can approach the chancellor in a private university that such student has to be financially helped for the time being. And then, as I told you, that we have regular parent-teacher, parent-professors meeting, I call it, or parent-faculty meeting, so that the parents come, and then the students will also be there, and their parents will be there, and these teachers or the mentors, they will have discussion with them, and they have the open discussion regarding their problem, they are facing. So that is one thing to build a healthy relationship. And then of course there are a lot of other extracurricular activities throughout the year. So during those activities, and all of us we address the students, like say we celebrate Youth Day, 12th January, Swami Vivekananda's birthday. We celebrate Rabindra Jayanti in Bengal. Rabindra Jayanti is very famous. So I tell them that 55 years ago I recited this poem, of Rabindranath, a very enjoyable and stimulating book. This thing, Nirjharer Sapnabhanga, awakening the fountain of its dream. That is the thing I told. I did it in 1965 when I was in class 11. So I'll do it now before you. Of course, I don't have the same stamina which I had at the age of 16. Now I'm 70 years old, so obviously, but I did it. So they are kind of things. And how did we celebrate, International Yoga Day? I'll tell you, then you'll be amazed to listen this thing. So I told our computer professor, you connect all the students and teachers somehow, whatever may be the so Zoom platform, YouTube, and Facebook. And I told that in a compact manner, I'll demonstrate yoga from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 21st June. My secretary came to my residence. I was with a short and my t-shirt on my yoga mat, and I told that although all these yogas I know, yogas and dhoti and neti and pranayam and meditation, that may take 2.5 hours or more, but I'll show it in a compact manner for 1 hour only, 8 to 9, and that is available with us. That video can be sent to you also now. So I started, and seeing that all the teachers and students of the university started practicing, and I overheard some teacher telling, देखिए yes, 71 साल का बुढ़ा जो है ना, उसका पैर ऊपर और सिर से नीचे है. So somebody was telling that because I was demonstrating them that I started with the exercise and then it continued with and ended with the neti, putting the water slight warm water with through one nose and coming out through the other one. That is also clearly visible, in that. So that gives a good feeling to the student that yes, our vice chancellor, and I tell them that you are like my grandchildren, not children. The children, most of the teachers are like my children. They are 35, 40 years old, and so 45 years old. Obviously, they are of my children age. But you are about 20 years old. That means you are like my grandchildren. So I treat you like my grandchildren. And if you don't do well, I don't mind beating you also. But at the same time, जैसे मैं अपने नाती को प्यार करता हूँ, ऐसे तुमको भी प्यार कर सकता हूँ. So this is what we tell them. So this, different ways. Sometimes we do the tree plantation, blood donation. I told them that when I was IIT NSS coordinator, I organized and also donated blood. But at this age of 70, nobody will take my blood, After 60, usually they don't take. So just before I became 60, at that time, I donated my blood on 1st of May Day at Kharagpur. I did that. So we encourage them. And then when they are doing it, for some time at least I remain present. So they see that, oh yes, we are donating blood, our Vice Chancellor is watching us. And they feel it's a pleasure. So like that, there are various activities. Through these activities, we build a good relationship and healthy relationship with the students. Be friendly with them. Sometimes you have to be, strict, but if they are going for some kind of indiscipline, then you have to be. But at the same time, fatherly. I tell them that I'm like a grandfather, not fatherly. So that's how we try to deal with them. And then we try to tackle their problems. Sometimes they have any problem, I'm not able to directly tackle. I immediately send a mail or talk to the assistant registrar. Please talk to the student, find out his problem. During Corona period, this Andaman student said that he could not go home and he didn't have the money. So arrange his free food from the university canteen. At least some skeleton people are there, some 10-15 people are eating. So please give free food to that student, So those kind of help we have to render.
So, I wish I had a Vice Chancellor who was there, as supportive and as pragmatic as you are. I believe that is the right approach. It doesn't matter what I believe, but I bet the viewers are taking a lot from this. So, this brings us to our last question. And as unfortunate as it is, that I would really want to prolong this conversation for as long as I can, because I'm having a jolly time doing so. But as time constraints on the question list also, this brings to our last question. So yet again, any suggestions you would like to give to our current youth and aspiring students, sir?
See, I'm not Mahatma Gandhi. Otherwise, I would have told that my life is my message. Okay, but they think that they have to be hardworking. And I came from very, very poor family. Very poor family. I didn't have sufficient food in my young age. I was born in the jungle mahal of Paschim Medinapur, district of West Bengal, that Lalgod and such places you have heard. But then I have gone to at least 20 countries of the world, visited so many countries, delivered lectures in different places, American Society of Agricultural Biological Engineers, even Cape Town and whatnot. So you become hardworking like me and be sincere, be honest in your duties, So you'll find that, there are ample opportunities, but your mind should be clear. And there is no substitute. Still now also at this age, I'm about to finish another book, and I wanted to get published by the best publisher of the world, that is Elsevier. I started with that. I thought if they don't publish, I'll go to the second choice, maybe Springer others. But Elsevier has accepted it, and now I'm working on it with their all guidelines, hard in that night after finishing my office work throughout the day. So that's what they have to do. Today, you say that BCMAL and agricultural engineering is a known thing. And another thing I developed in India, that is engineering related to fisheries, which is known as aquacultural engineering. To any senior fishery scientist of India today, you ask, or any qualified aquaculture engineer, to them, Professor BCMAL and aquaculture engineering, these two things are synonymous today. So I feel that if they work hard, they can also do like this. And then teachers, young teachers, I have something to say, that please treat your students like your children. I tell them sometimes that, see, Ramkrishna, one day, C.C. Ramkrishna Dev, his wife is Ma Sarada Devi, told that we don't have a child. What is going to happen to us at the old age? Ramkrishna Dev says, why do you want to become the mother of one son? I'll make you the mother of the whole world. So the whole world worships her as C.C. Ma Sarada Devi. So I'm not Ramkrishna Dev. I cannot speak like that. I jokingly told my wife that I have a daughter only, no son, that I'll make you the mother of many young people of India. And any city I go, I don't know where are you located, Delhi? So any city in India and
Delhi.
Many cities out there I go, there are a lot of people who respect us like their parents, because not only I have taught them when they fell sick how to cure them, they have come to my house and stayed. During this Corona period, 18 to 25, one student of IIT told me, sir, we have been asked to vacate our hostel and I have to go to Kuch Bihar, that remote place, and I'm not getting any train connection. Only on 26th I'm getting a flight from Calcutta to Bagdogra. So I told you, come and stay in my house. So I stayed for 8 days, with me. Although I'm not guiding him at the moment, I was a MTech guide. He's working for PhD under somebody else, although he's taking my help also academically. So like that. So most of these people, that Rajini of Kerala, she says Professor Mal is like my father. So this is the kind of relationship you have to develop. What problems they have got. Everything you are connected. One day I tried to talk to Dr. Basant Kumar Singh, who is working at Sikkim, but incidentally his wife picked up the telephone. Sir, I'm at Bhagalpur or somewhere in Bihar. In the lockdown period, I'm locked up here, and my husband is at Sikkim. So he was, yes sir, who is speaking? She asked. I told, BC Mal, Professor Mal बोल रहा हूँ. Oh sir, वो अपना parents के बाद आप ही का नाम करते हैं. So this is the kind of, this thing proudly I can tell everybody, before everybody, the other things I could develop. So this is what the young people, all the young teachers, this is what they have to behave. Not only you have to teach well, you have to be good in your subject, but also you have to have good communication skill. You should have good heart, because first of all, you have to be a good human being. That is most essential. And I tell the same thing to the students also, that they alone live who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive. That's what I told by Swami Vivekananda.
Yeah.
So these are some of the things you have to follow. And then you'll find, hum do hamare do karne se nahi chalega. When my students get good post, my second research scholar daughter K.P. Gore became the vice chancellor of Marathwada Agriculture Institute, Parboni. It gave me a lot of pleasure, as if my own children are getting those positions. I mean, this is how I enjoy, and that gives you the whole enjoyment, because Vasudevaya Kutumbakam, we say, na? The whole world is our relatives. I don't say whole world, but at least the students whom I have taught and whom I know, so I cherish when they get good position.
So
anything else?
Yes, sir. And I mean, this brings to the end of the interview, and I would say to all our viewers, there's so much to take from this interview and so much profound knowledge that you can gather up. I mean, I myself feel like a changed man after the interview. So, thank you so much, sir, yet again for your time. Yep. And as I said, it's an honor and privilege. Yeah, it's an honor and privilege to have you here. And thank you again. Stay tuned for the next episode of Thoughts on Education. Thank you so much.